Welcome to our Board of Education October 10th meeting. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first order of business tonight. May I get a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda, please? First, Jim. Second, Megan. All in favor? 5-0. Okay. Jerry, it's a turn to you for tonight's update.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome everyone. A few notes from the high school and across the school district. Congratulations to junior Maggie Anderson, who was a student in the aviation training program through our partnership with BOCES, part of our partnership for career technical education training. There's about 30 programs there, and every year we have 30 to 40 high school students taking advantage of career technical education. Maggie was identified as Employee of the Month in the BOCES program, and this title recognizes students whom their instructors would want to hire, who show professionalism and have the desire to be trained. And that's out of all of the students in that technical center. So congratulations to Maggie for that accomplishment and recognition. Reminder that homecoming will take place on Saturday, October 21st. Just to note, any choir alumni who are listening that would like to join in singing the national anthem should meet Mr. Creighton near the concession area at 12:30, and more to come on homecoming in the next week or so for everybody. Congratulations to our student athletes, our coaches, and our athletic director, Mr. Passamonte. The district, again, for the third year in a row, received the award from the New York State Public High School Athletic Association for our district receiving the status of being a athletic distinction school. 100% of our varsity teams qualified as scholar athletes, so we are a school of distinction in the New York State athletic program. So great work by all of them. We truly do have scholar athletes, and athletics leads to hard work, and there's a connection there for our students for academic success. Over at Wading River, nice week last week for them, the fourth graders at the Fire Island. Mr. Parnell let me know they were visited by several pods of dolphins, which is pretty cool, on their trip over to Fire Island. The PTA Book Fair is in full swing this week, and the Monster Mash is coming up this Friday, and the clubs are up and running at Wading River, and they include art, chess, newspaper, wellness clubs, play pals, language buddies, and bell choir over there. So over at Miller Avenue, students played host to Safety Mike as the safety bus last week. All students had a thorough lesson on bus safety. Tomorrow, thank the Rocky Point Fire Department. They'll be coming to Miller Avenue to talk about fire safety and let the students explore the emergency vehicles. Well, their book fair is being on October 17th, and their clubs are underway this week at Miller Avenue. Student Council, Project Adventure, Coding Club, Wellness Club, and Play Pals. On the agenda tonight are two presentations from Mr. Meinster. One is on the 2022-2023 student outcomes on the assessments across the last school year, and a presentation on the 2023-24 curriculum instruction goals, which are really a derivative and identification of the data analysis of student performance from last year. And certainly last but not least, on the agenda tonight, and I know in June when we have our retiree recognition night on the agenda to be able to recognize them then as well. But on the agenda tonight is the retirement of Mr. Warren Passamonte, our athletic director. I want to thank Mr. Passamonte tonight for his incredible service to the school district over the last 10 years. His passion and commitment to the athletic program, I think, is second to none, and he will be missed. Congratulate him, but his resignation on the agenda tonight, and so congratulations to him. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Opportunity for board members. Anyone have anything you want to share? Any statements from residents? Okay. Tonight's a special night in the sense that we've got two students we're going to swear in as ex officio board members. So I want to welcome Alessandra Saget and Meyer Feiersdorfer to stand in front of Mr. Hayward to get sworn in, please.
Take a picture.
Repeat after me.
Alessandra,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of ex officio student board member.
the duties of ex officio student board member.
Congratulations. So after you both sit down, first of all, congratulations again. Thank you for spending the time and signing up to be part of our board. Why don't I have Alessandra, why don't you introduce yourself, and then Maya, please tell us a little bit about yourselves and kind of really your goals of being on the board and what you're trying to do here. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Alessandra. I decided to apply as the ex officio student board member because I want to help in providing input to make the district more inclusive and a healthy environment for the student body. I believe that I can provide a mature and understanding viewpoint on many discussions. I am currently in Symbols, Nexus, and National Honor Society, and I'm on the volleyball team where we just secured our spot into playoffs. Recently, I was involved in a one-week missions trip in Kentucky with my church to help damaged homes from flood that happened a year ago. Now I'm finishing up college applications with the help of Ms. Siemez, and the entire process was a little bit less stressful than imagined because everything was really well organized through Common App and Naviance. I hope to major in nursing and make my way up to physician assisting. I hope to start as a junior volunteer at the fire department once I turn 18.
I'm Maya Beiersdorfer. I joined so that I can be a part in providing positive changes to our district, and I think a student point of view is a really valuable part of the Board of Education, so they have a firsthand input on what's happening in our schools. Right now, I'm on the soccer team. I'm treasurer of the yearbook club. I'm president of Wise Club, and I'm in Best Buddies. I'm looking to go to college for mechanical engineering. So far, my college application process has been somewhat stressful, but Mr. Rosado has helped to ease as much of the stress that comes along with college applications as possible.
Well, thank you both. It's really great to see such young talent that have so many great things happening and thinking of your future. So welcome, and again, look forward to your contributions here tonight and future meetings. Going to keep moving on. Tonight, on our reports and reviews, we have three presentations. We're obviously welcomed by Mrs. Smith here at Miller Avenue, so looking forward to an update on her principal report, as well as the Makerspace presentation. We also have Mr. Meinster tonight with student outcomes and the curriculum goals for 23-24. So why don't we start with Mrs. Smith as our host, so thank you.
Good evening, Board of Education, district office members, and to the community, and to my friends over there from Miller Avenue, and a few from Wading River that snuck in too. It is with such pleasure and pride that I stand before you as principal of Miller Avenue School. I feel humbled every day to hold this position and recognize the immense trust that you put in me and have placed in my hands. As the starting point for the Shoreham-Wading River School District, Miller Avenue plays a significant role in fostering a love for learning, preparing our children for the future. These goals are not taken lightly at Miller Avenue, and I am so proud of the inclusive environment that we call Miller Avenue. The staff here are absolutely exceptional. They're committed to providing the best possible education for our students, and I do believe that Miller Avenue students are successful because of their daily efforts. In addition, I just have to take this opportunity to say thank you to the PTO and to the community for their collaboration and trust in in myself and in the building. This evening, I'd like to just update you on a few accomplishments and new initiatives that we have here at Miller Avenue. We have transitioned from the Eureka Math program to Eureka Math Squared this year. The newer program is simplified, it is user-friendly, and it's more appealing to our students and to adults. I observed 3 full math lessons, 1 in each grade, and have found that the students were highly engaged and met their learning objectives. Feedback from teachers, students, and parents has all been very positive. I look forward to watching the year progress with the new program. Literacy is pretty important here at a primary building. Last year, we transitioned to our new reading units of study. Our professional development focused on small group instruction and meeting the needs of all learners. We continue that this year. Our curriculum also includes our foundations units, which is a multisensory phonics program. For this year, we continue to strive to meet the goals of our students in literacy by differentiating instruction, incorporating additional phonics instruction into all daily instruction, and once again, working with students in small groups. Beyond academics, we are equally passionate about instilling values that will serve our students throughout their lifetime. Our character education program emphasizes integrity, community involvement. Nurturing a well-rounded student is as important as academic success at Miller Avenue. Through the utilization of restorative practices, we guide our students to own their behavior and resolve disagreements and learn from their mistakes. One of our recent initiatives that I am so excited to talk about is our commitment to music education. I want to thank Mr. Poole, our district office members, and the Board of Education for allowing Ms. Verity to be here full-time this year. With this addition, we now have the opportunity for all K1 and 2 students to have a choral program. So I am so excited about those presentations later in the winter and spring, and our board members will get a special invite to come. At this time, we are going to share a very special video that I did tell the students, a secret movie that was prepared. Mr. Verbeck, one of our second grade teachers, prepared this. And this will highlight life in the day of a student at Miller Avenue School. After the video, we'll have a super quick presentation just to review some of the wonderful things that are happening over at the side table. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Every morning, 400 students come to Miller Avenue School. They're happy, they're smiling, and they're ready to learn. Why are these students so happy? What makes Miller Avenue such a great school? Is it the teachers? Is it the staff? Is it all the great things they do? It's all of that. So let's look at the great things that are happening at Miller Avenue School.
So here in first grade, we use a lot of different math manipulatives. This year, one of the ways that some of the first grade teachers decided to organize them was through a math baggie. In each math baggie, students have things like a tens frame that can help them, a math bracelet, some different Lincoln cubes, oops, thank you, David, and a dry erase marker. These are all different things that we use quite often, so students grab their math baggies and know exactly what to do when they come to the carpet. Okay, so today we're going to take out just your times frame, zip it up, and play the Presto Change-O game with your partner. So now Olivia's turn. So you show your part, and then Isaac will show the Presto Change-O. So you have to wait for Olivia to switch.
So this is it.
And then she'll show you what to do.
Hi everybody. So in second grade, we like to add writer's craft into our writing. That's using similes, metaphors, onomatopoeia, hyperboles. So a fun, innovative way that we decided to do this is with these bookmarks. So the children learn all the different writer's crafts, and then we go and we get to try them out in our writing. Take a look. All right, what do you have, Mackenzie?
Boom, my mom's water broke.
Boom, my mom's water just broke. And that's what? Does anyone know what that is? Simile! Excellent! It took 1,000,000 billion trillion hours to get there? What do we call that type of writer's craft? Hyperbole. Excellent!
The library is often thought of in its traditional form, a very quiet place filled with books. Modern libraries are community centers and classrooms. One of the ways that we are bringing that to the Miller Avenue Library is in the form of a makerspace. A makerspace is a place of play and exploration where students can collaborate. These activities are hands-on, STEAM-oriented, and require students to tap into their critical thinking skills that are built around books and so much more. Today's mission tasks kindergartners with the challenge of building different structures using Legos. Students will work with partners to plan and construct their creations.
Building a flower. Big cherry on top. Building a tower. How about we say with our fries? How do we do that?
Involved in. There's so many opportunities for us to feel like we're a part of the school and our kids' education.
Absolutely. They always let us come in for different things like Fruity Friday and the school store. There's special days for Mother's Day tea and Father's Day kickball.
There's crafts during the holidays.
Yep, there's the book fair where you come in and volunteer. We actually met there together 2 years ago, and that's where our friendship started. So the school really just makes you feel like a part of the community and not that you just drop your kid off and you don't really know what goes on. It goes on for the rest of the day. So it's just a really special experience for the parents to be here. You always also feel like you're in touch with the teachers. There's portals to discuss with them. There's always, every teacher has always made me feel comfortable emailing or asking questions. You don't feel lost, especially if you have a son like mine that doesn't tell you things throughout the day, that you can actually get in touch with the teachers and find out what's going on. And it's just it's a family community, and you feel just nice being here.
We're so proud to be parents of kids at Miller Ave.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Brown. This is the art room. We do lots of fun things in here, like drawing and painting, some sculpture. We'll be getting ready for a big art show called MoMA soon. And today we're working on some drawings inspired by a famous artist named Joan Miro. Making our own Miro drawings. They created their own creatures.
In kindergarten this week, we are all about apples. We are looking at discovering the fruit and how it grows, the life cycle of an apple. The children are learning how to label in kindergarten, so we're labeling the parts of an apple, and then they get to taste the apples and figure out which one's their favorite. They voted and made their own headbands based on color. And today is probably the most exciting part about kindergarten food, cooking apples. They're going to mash and make applesauce and get to taste it at the end of the day. And we're super excited. All fun with apples.
Look at you mashing apples, kindergartners. Getting ready to mashing. Good job. You cook them out. Mashing those apples. Keep mashing. We're gonna arm high. That's what hold by me. Now hand up. Arm up high. Dump it in. Not quite dumping it. Good job. Eight. Nice. We are gonna make some apples. Take a spoonful, blow on it. Let's see everybody's faces. What do you think? Delicious, I love it. What do you think?
It is delicious.
Oh.
It's delicious because I made it and it's extra
Mr. Bonventre, we're here with Mrs. D'Onofrio, Mr. Feast as well, one of the PE teachers at Miller Avenue. At Miller Avenue, we try to give the kids an opportunity to try lots of different things, anything from playing soccer to learning how to climb and swing. Right now we're doing a portion of our Whittle Gym. The main feature of the Whittle Gym is going to be coming up later on around February. But it gives the kids an opportunity to try different things. And that's one of our goals here, is to try to figure out different ways to excite them about staying active and being fit. So in a moment, you're going to get to see a little bit of a glimpse of what we're doing right now. Kids will be climbing on the rock walls, they'll be swinging on our ropes, cargo nets, and the best part about it is they have a really good time, and they're getting good exercise at the same time, which is kind of a bonus. They're not even realizing they're building that muscular strength and endurance, which is kind of great for everybody. So enjoy watching some of the kids having a great time while getting fit at Miller Avenue.
And I teach in the 812 program. We are working on a new curriculum called Teach Town. And in Teach Town, we use differentiated texts that are categorized by the different stars on the back. We use these texts that we can work together in large groups where everyone has different books, but we are all reading the same book together. We are going to look at our story, Peter Rabbit. Can everyone show me the title? Touch the title. Good job, Peter Rabbit. Excellent. And Peter is our character in the story. Excellent job. We're going to use our reading fingers, and we are going to point under the words as we read. Remember, in my story, my book has a little more words than some of my friends. So if your story ends, you're going to keep listening, and you can use your pictures, okay? There were 4 rabbits named Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived under a big tree. Can everyone show me the rabbits living under the big tree? Touch the rabbits. There they are. They're under the big tree. That's where they live with their mother.
Hi, I'm Miss Anderson. I'm a kindergarten teacher at Miller Avenue, and we do lots of things to help prepare the students to get ready to read. And one of the biggest things we're working on right now is developing their phonemic awareness. And we're going to show you what that looks like in kindergarten. All right, are you ready? So we're going to listen really carefully by saying, here we're going to turn up those ear muscles, and we're going to say some reading words. Are you ready? Here we go. Mess, less. Sit, fit. We're going to try to grab that first sound. So ready? Here's the first one. Let's see if we can grab the first sound. Watch me first, then it's your turn. Sit. Now we're going to put some words together. 2 words, when we put them together, they make a new word. Watch me first, and then you'll try. Ready? Snow, ball. Snowball. Your turn.
Snowball.
Good.
Hi, I'm Jenny Hoey. I'm the E&L teacher here at Miller Avenue, and I work with students who are at various stages of their English language acquisition. And here we are starting to utilize our students' home languages so that they can further develop their vocabulary, we can tap into their prior knowledge a lot more, and really foster that love of language and appreciating their own home language. How do you say sweet in Spanish? How do you say sweet? You know? How? Rico or dulce? So you didn't like this one so much because it was sour. How do you say sour in Spanish?
One of the wonderful things we have here at Miller Avenue is our Wildcats with Character. So each month we get to celebrate a different trait with the Wildcats with Character. So for the month of October we do kindness. There's different traits for every month, and what's so wonderful about it is that we get to celebrate what makes you that way, and we also get to hand out our paw prints here in the building. Not only myself, who's one of our school psychologists, or our teachers, but also any staff that shows or sees another student doing an act of kindness gets to give them a paw print, and then that's celebrated at the end of the month. That happens in our building and other buildings as well. Our Wildcats with Character trait goes all the way up through high school, which is wonderful, so that families can all talk about the trait each month. And then what's really special in our building is that we have Whiskers, our Wildcat, who will be coming through at the end of each month to hand deliver those Wildcat paws and to give a celebration for each student that was recognized as a Wildcat with Character that month.
We are so lucky this year to have not only a second grade choir at Miller Avenue, but to also have choirs for our kindergarten and first grade students. All of the grades are hard at work preparing performances to share with the community. Our second grade students are preparing a holiday concert where the whole grade will combine and perform at the high school for their family and friends. The kindergarten students are also preparing a holiday performance, which they will share here at Miller Avenue. Our first grade students are working on more of a musical theater style production, which they will share in February.
There's a lot of stuff happening at Miller after school. We love to show you more, but it's time to go. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for allowing us to play the video. I know it was long, but we kind of got out of hand when we were filming. So I do appreciate it. Without further ado, I just wanted to introduce Mrs. Laval. Ms. Laval joined Shoreham-Wading River last school year. She is shared with Wading River School and instructs her students on a rotating basis here at Miller Avenue. Ms. Laval is enthusiastic and her love for her program is immense. And I greatly appreciate her flexibility and creativity. As you are aware, at Miller Avenue, our library space is shared with our music room, so that means we have to get pretty creative. And Mrs. Lavelle meets with classes in the library, but when she's not able to use the library, she has created a Makerspace on the Go program. And I know that earlier this evening you were able to stop in and look at check in with our students that are working on their Makerspace. So I'd like to just let Ms. Lavelle speak quickly about her program, and then a few of our students would like to say hello.
Thank you. It has been a great honor to be the librarian here at Miller Avenue School and Wading River School. Working in this district, I have to say, it is unlike any districts that I've seen before. It really is a community, and I have received such a warm welcome, and that does mean so much to me. Part of being a librarian here, I played a part in creating a library curriculum. So when students visit the library, we will learn about things such as library navigation, being a library user. We will do genre studies as well as early research skills. Part of what I would hope to prepare students to be both creators and consumers of information. So how to take that information and turn it into their own writing. Along with that, I have our lovely makerspace. Tonight you got to preview Lego landmarks. So with this project, students will work with partners. They will collaborate to choose a landmark that is from around the world. They will plan their creation, so they will have a conversation, how they think it should be built. And then they become engineers and they start building. And I have to say, every creation, I'm just blown away by their creativity. We do have a few volunteers that wanted to share a little bit about what they love with their makerspace.
So I would love for you to share what you think about our makerspace activities. Do you want to start?
My teachers.
Do you like when Miss Lavelle comes in with her makerspace, and why?
Yes. Because we get to do like fun activities.
Thank you. Tiago? What is your favorite makerspace activity that you have done so far?
San Francisco.
So when you were making the Golden Gate Bridge, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Was it challenging for you?
a little.
I noticed that you were building something over there. Do you remember the name of what you were building? Oh, it was pretty hard. What did you like about the makerspace activity?
That it was fun while learning and having fun.
Well, thank you very much. Oh, do you have more?
Like a little mix of learning and fun.
I wish everything could be like that, don't you? Yeah, me too. Thank you very much. I just want to thank the families that came out tonight. Thank you to the boys and girls. They've been active over there with their makerspace for over an hour. So thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for allowing this time for the presentation. Do you have any questions for me?
Nope.
Great video.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
presentation. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I should too, but.
So next up tonight in our reports and reviews, we have Mr. Alan Meinster with our student outcomes, and then probably lead right into curriculum goals. Alan, right? Okay, great. Looking forward to hearing this. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you, Ms. Sheridan, members of the Board of Education, district administration, and community members, and our entire administrative team. Tonight I get the opportunity, as I do roughly this time each year, to look back at how our students performed on a number of different academic measures over the course of the previous school year. In addition, I'll also be providing a review, as was mentioned before, of the curriculum instruction and assessment goals for our upcoming school year. So these are just a quick list of the different assessments and measures that we'll be looking at as we go through this evening. And moving right into our first, which would be our 3 through 8 ELA and math assessments. So first and foremost, when it comes down to the state math assessments, is always the caveat that we do have a significant number of our students who still do not participate in these measures. Here you have our percentage of students that do participate over the last 6 years. What you do see is that we have been seeing a steady trend, so that we've moved from approximately 1 in every 5 students taking these assessments to now about 1 in every 3 students. So while we do not have a full set of data for this, what data we do have, we do take a look at and we do use to help inform student progress in areas where we may want to focus some of our efforts. This is another look at the data here specifically for the ELA state assessments in grades 3 through 8. The overall numbers are first, and then each of the different grade levels follow, everything from 2017 all the way through now. The 2021 ELA was an abridged version of the assessment during COVID. And what you can see here is that we have steadily seen an increase overall in just about every single grade. We did have an anomaly with 3rd grade, and as soon as the data for that becomes available from the state, we will be taking a look at that to see exactly where that anomaly lies as far as where the students had a little bit more difficulty that did take that last year than previous years. But overall, we have gone from just under half of the students being proficient back in 2017 to now 63% of our students overall, meeting with the proficiency bar for those that do take the assessment. Looking at in math, we have similar kinds of numbers here. Our students overall in math, 62% reaching proficiency back in 2017. That number's up to about 65% now. What you do notice there in 8th grade, because a significant number of our students in math, better than 80%, are accelerated and take the Algebra 1 Regents course in 8th grade. That's the data that you see there. So that 99% is the percentage of students passing the Algebra 1 Regents exam in lieu of the 8th grade state math assessment. So some of the key findings from the ELA and math state assessments, we've seen that trend toward greater student participation. We see the obviously impacts of having a relatively high number not taking part, limiting the value and the information that we can take from them. However, for those students that do participate in these measures, that information and that data is used as part of our multi-tiered system of support, our MTSS structure, where our team will look at all of the data available. We'll be talking about that through this presentation to help identify how best to target individualized support for students. We do see, as illustrated by our Algebra 1 Regents results, that students moving through these grades, by the time that they get to the secondary school level and they start taking Regents exams in math, they do very well on those assessments. Our math program, Eureka Squared, now taking place of Eureka, the Eureka program, is generating strong performance of our students with 99% passing. And also, again, looking at the same measure in ELA, which is the ELA Regents exam, which our students take in 11th grade as their exit assessment in English, also remains strong with 95% of our students passing, and we are seeing, again, gradual increases in overall proficiency. Moving on to the state science assessment, there are a couple of changes taking place in science along with all of the different courses, in that we are transitioning over to the New York State Next Generation standards, and that is no different here in science. So the state is moving the elementary state assessment in science from grade 4 to grade 5. This is the transition year, so last year our 4th graders did not take a science state assessment. They'll be taking the first 5th grade state science assessment this year. So that's where the NA is there. In 8th grade science, We have only a very small number of students that participate, so that number is very difficult to use, that 27%. If you notice over the last 6 years, it's all over the map, and that's because we have less than 15 students each year participating on that assessment. So it's a very variable number. Instead, the majority of students in 8th grade take the Earth Science Regents course, and there you can see all of the students last year passed the Regents exam in 8th grade that took that assessment. So again, this is just a summary of what I just said. So now we can move on to our local instructional diagnostics. Obviously, if we want to be able to have a much more widespread measure of student performance in math and ELA, the state assessments really don't provide us with that kind of information. We do obtain that information from other measures that we provide our students, ones that give us broader and more individualized information about their progress that allows teachers and the school to inform how best to support our instructional program moving forward. So the first of these is iReady. We provide iReady to our students in reading in grades K through 8 and in math in grades K through 2. And we use the ALEX assessment for students in grades 3 through 12. This is our reading tier movement district-wide, which shows for our iReady measure for reading from grades K through 8, the student movement from the fall of 2022 to the spring of 2023. The pyramids represent the 3 different tiers of student performance. The green are our students in tier 1. Those are students that are considered to be performing at meeting grade level standards. And we are looking at roughly 85% of our students that exited in the spring of 2023 on and meeting grade level standards. We have a smaller percentage there of the students that are in the yellow area on that triangle that are in the tier 2. These are students who are partially meeting state standards, and these are students that we look to identify for how we can provide support both in class and through potentially pull-out support services for those students. These are all students, every student is reviewed by our MTSS teams at each of the elementary schools and the middle school, and at the high school as well. And then based on how each individual student is performing on all of these measures, the team makes recommendations for what the specific individualized support that would best meet the needs of that student would be. And then finally, the little tiny red at the very top there are our students that are performing well below grade level expectations. And those students definitely, almost every one of them receives some type of supplemental instructional support in addition to their classroom instruction and instructional support from the classroom teachers. This is our middle school movement chart. You see the numbers are fairly similar there. I just put each of the different buildings in here so you can kind of get a feel for that and how the distribution breaks out, which is more or less the same from last year for iReady. Yeah, for some reason this is an older version of the presentation that got pulled up. Sorry, that's okay. So overall, students falling into the bottom 10th percentile, those are the ones that we would typically recognize as being significantly below grade level. That's that group where we would be looking to make sure that not only are we providing instructional support in the class and the teacher is focused on supporting the students' needs, but we also look to provide those students with more foundational supports, typically provided as pull-out services in the course of the day. Students that fall between the 11th and 25th percentile, those are the students that we will typically recognize and align with our tier 2, and those are students that will be considered for some type of an academic intervention service outside of the classroom in addition to the support from the teacher. And then again, the remaining 85% of our students represent those that don't really need any supplemental support. So that comes from that. So the other measure we have is our ALEX math measure, and we provide ALEX to our students in grades 3 through 12. So this gives you the indications that ALEX is a little bit different than iReady. ALEX measures mastery of standards rather than proficiency with standards. So students here, these numbers represent the percentage of standards in the course that they are in that they have mastered, not just are proficient with, but have actually demonstrated mastery on. as demonstrated by their performance on knowledge checks taken throughout the year. So again, we have the fall of 2022 compared to the end of the school year in the spring of 2023. I have last year's compared to this year in here so that you can get a feel for that. And we roughly are seeing similar kinds of gains across the board. A little bit less this past year than what we had the year before. We had about a 19% average gain in standards mastered by our students this past year, as opposed to just over 20% the year before. The measure that we look at here again with mastery is we tend to compare that to the Regents exam mastery. And what you'll notice there is that the Algebra 1 students last year had a mastery rate of about 38%. And the Regents mastery score that you can look at for that same population was 29%. So you can see there's a pretty close correlation there between how the students are doing in their percentage of standards mastered in Algebra 1 in ALEX compared to how they are mastering the Algebra 1 Regents exam. And so this is a measure that we use that gives us fairly good representation of how our students are with regard to being on track for mastery of the content in math. So this is just another way of looking at that. This shows a little bit of a longitudinal piece here. What I would point out and what I would say you should notice on this is that you'll notice there's a decreasing trend in the percentage of standards mastered as the students progress through the grade levels. That is not unsurprising. As the complexity of the math goes up, the percentage of students mastering that math through the year does tend to drop. But what is more important and what's most important about the ALEX program is its ability to individualize where which single student is strongest and where they may have gaps in math. So while this is aggregate data, the most important measure out of the ALEX platform is its ability to inform individualized support for each student, for the teacher to be able to know exactly where students have their strongest areas and where they may need additional support. And the ALEX platform provides activities and exercises that students can work on independently or that can be assigned by the classroom teacher that can support them in strengthening those areas where they may have gaps. At the secondary level, ALEX is used as an integral part of the program. The teachers at the secondary level will provide homework assignments using ALEX, sometimes class assignments as well. Because of the fact that ALEX is individualized, assignments can basically ask a student to go into their own individual pathway and work on exactly what they need to do next, or they can be tailored to a class-wide assignment where all students are asked to work on a specific skill that the teacher wants the whole class to work on. So, again, this is a summary of some of the things that I just spoke about. And again, ALEX continues to be a useful means for matching instructional programming to the support of the individual student's needs. Any questions so far as we're going to move on to the secondary measures? So, looking at our Regents exams from last year, for the first time since the pandemic, all 10 Regents exams actually took place this past June. So we actually have a full set of Regents performance data to take a look at. I'll be showing you those in just a second. The state did maintain its special appeal that had been put in place for the last couple of years. I believe that their intent is to let that expire, but they have not made a final decision on that as of this time yet. So that students that received a score between a 50 and a 64 on a Regents exam can still receive credit for that Regents exam to receive course credit and be considered to have met the Regents requirement in that course for graduation. The grade still stays exactly what it is. It will still show up on a student's transcript, but students can get credit. They do not have to retake the Regents exam in order to be able to get the Regents credit for graduation. The U.S. History exam this past year was the first of its kind in terms of being aligned with the Next Generation Learning Standards. The state is now beginning that transition so that each year there'll be new Regents exams that are going to be rolled out that align with the new standards. This year it's going to be Algebra 1, followed next year by Earth Science and Living Environment, and then each of those will move up along the chain for those subject areas. They are, Regents exams remain a requirement for graduation. They're included on our transcripts. They serve as a component of one of our accountability measures. They do form one component of the APPR plan for the district, and they do continue to provide students with opportunities for recognitions and for rewards for high academic performance. So we do really value the outcomes there. These are the 5 levels that the state basically correlates to the Regents exams. And here is the data for our 10 Regents exams. I put in here basically 2019 again was the last year pre-pandemic, so that now you can see where we are with respect to before the pandemic to now. While you can see that we are down somewhat across most of the subject areas here, the trend has been incredibly fast to go back to 0. So while I did not put in these slides last year's presentation, these numbers were much larger last year. The gaps between, and you can look at it from there. So for example, in English, we were 9 points below. Now we're only 4% below. Last year, we were 7% below for Algebra 1. Now we're only 1% below. So you can see from this chart that we've made a lot of gains in our recovery from the pandemic and its impacts on our students right across the board. You will notice there is an outlier there. The Physics Regents exam had a significant drop. There are reasons for that. We switched to an alternating year structure for AP Physics. Students that take AP Physics also take the Regents exam in Physics, and none of those students were taking Physics last year. So some of the students that tend to be the highest performers on that assessment were not enrolled last year. They'll be in this year's cohort. We're offering it every other year. So those students pushed into this year. There were also, as is typical with the Physics Regents, there were a good number of students that were in the class that did not take the Regents exam, that elected not to take it. A lot of times seniors that are about to go into college and already have been accepted into college and don't need it for it, don't take the assessment. So those are factors there. The mastery numbers are on the right side. Those are students getting an 85 or better on the Regents exam. And again, just like was the case with the passing rates, while we are below where we had been pre-pandemic, those numbers are quickly closing to the point where even in Algebra 2, you can see our mastery number actually now is higher than it was before the pandemic. Same thing is true for passing in social studies. The U.S. history is a little bit of an unfair comparison for that one because that again is the new assessment aligned to new standards. So now in taking a look in a different way about these exams, so here is again what was on the last slide here, June 9, 2019 performance on each of the 10 Regents exams, June of 2023 performance on each of the 10 exams, how much our students' change was between those two. But what's added into this slide is that last column, and that is a comparison of how our students have fared to those in our region. Our region being Eastern Suffolk BOCES, basically the 70 districts surrounding us here on the eastern half of Long Island. And you can see here that right across the board, with the exception again of the Physics Regents exam, in every single one of the other exams, our students' gap is much, much smaller than the region. Here's another way of looking at that. This is the Regents exam for all students, and across the board, all of our, again, you can see significantly higher than the gap to region. Let's see. So the last bullet is the only one I haven't addressed here on this one here. We look at all students and all subgroups when we analyze all of our students' performance, because sometimes the devil's in the details and you want to take a look and see exactly where, while the whole group may be doing all right, there may be subgroups that need some focus, and we want to take a look at those, make sure we're supporting them. We do analyze that each year. What we did notice from last year's is that all of the subgroups, and I listed all of them there, every single one of them outperformed their regional peers on pretty much all of the Regents exams last year, the exception being the Physics. District subgroup populations where performance gaps exist, we have identified them. We are already taking steps, working together with our directors, Dr. Policelli and Ms. Wallbauer, who are here with us this evening. We have gone through detailed analysis. They have met with the teachers. They have gone through those assessments. We've looked at which questions the students are struggling with, and they have worked directly with them to figure out exactly what the root causes underlying those difficulties might be and how we can teach into those. And then finally, we have noticed and we continue to work on student performance on our open-ended prompts and written tasks is an area where we can certainly do a stronger performance with our students. Not that they're doing poorly, as you can tell overall they're outperforming the region, but we can always do better. Any questions about the Regents exams? Okay, moving on to our college prep exam level. So starting with our AP exams, these are the 2023 AP results for the 19 different AP exams that we offered to our students this past year. The thing that I would want you to obviously notice is that blue represents our district and kind of stands out when you look at this chart. So our overall performance on advanced placement exams compared to both state and all student groups is incredibly strong. Here, for each of the 19 AP exams that we offer, were last year's average scores. AP exams are on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being mastery, 3 being proficient, and you'll notice that with all but one, we have an average student score of at least a 3. Last year, if you go by the measure that most colleges will accept a score of 3 for at least giving elective course credit, our students earned over 1,000 college credits taking AP courses last year by getting that 3 or higher. We had 450 total tests taken. The average score overall was a 3.67, closer to a 4 even. Over 76% of the exams that were taken got a 3. 45% of them got at least a 4. The bar there is that most colleges will accept a score of 4 or 5 for course credit, not just elective credit. We were also recognized for the first time, this is a modified structure. The district has been an AP honor roll school for advanced placement from College Board in the past. This year they created a restructuring of this honor, breaking it into 3 categories: silver, gold, and platinum. Our district was recognized as an overall silver AP honor roll school for meeting all 3 credit criteria at least the silver level. But we also actually met the gold criteria for college credit and the platinum criteria for college optimization. The silver criteria came for college culture. At the individual level, we also see a lot of students getting recognized for their performance in advanced placement work. 83 total students got some form of AP Scholar recognition, 37 of them named AP Scholars, an additional 19 AP Scholars with honors, and another 27 AP Scholars with distinction. 9 of our students graduated with a capstone diploma, meaning that they got a score of 3 or higher on both the AP Seminar and AP Research exams, plus 4 other AP exams. And 6 students received an AP Capstone Certificate for reaching the level 3 score or higher on AP Seminar and AP Research, with fewer than 4 other AP courses included. We did very well on the National Merit Qualifying Test, which is the PSAT. From that last year, we had 2 students that were named National Merit Commended Scholars and 1 student that was a National Merit Scholar finalist. Those are incredibly high bars and very difficult, meaning that they are on the very, very top of overall national performers on the PSAT. Moving on to the college entrance exams. Our SAT scores. This is probably one of the most remarkable statistics that we've got in terms of where our students are at compared to their peers. This margin grows every single year. we are now more than 100 points above the state and national average on the SAT. With the students outperforming in the reading and math components by roughly 60 points on each. That number again continues to just grow that difference. On the ACT, we have a much smaller number of students that take the ACT, and the state also. Less than 10% of state students take the ACT, so this data is a much smaller group to look at. We are comparable with New York State, well above the national average. So just in summary, here are some of those numbers just to take a look at, to have them kind of stand out there. 132 points higher than the national average for the SAT, 142 points higher, 132 points higher than the state, 142 points higher than the national average, with our average student scoring at 1170, which is just phenomenal. The average ACT score is 24.5, composite score. That's just below the state average, but well above the national average. And that ACT performance has pretty much been level for the last 3 years.
Mr. Meinster,
Yes.
a quick question, I'm sorry. So for the regions you have that data compared to region, did you look at the SAT compared to region as well as state?
Unfortunately, the region is data that's compiled by Eastern Suffolk BOCES. They do not compile SAT data, so I don't have access to that.
Okay.
So the
Thank you.
closest I can get is state.
It's just interesting to see some of the regions gaps, and,
Yeah.
and I'm curious to see how that plays out in the SAT scores.
It definitely would be something worth looking at. Unfortunately, that's not data
Okay.
that
Thank
SAT
you.
publishes. Let's see. So moving on to our last category, and that is graduation outcomes. The sum of why we are here is to get our students ready to move on to what might come at them next. So here are some of the numbers that are on here. These numbers also are from an older presentation and are not accurate. So I'm going to give you the corrected numbers on here, and I apologize for these not being what they should be. So our graduation rate for this year is 99.5%, not 98. Regents diplomas are 27.8. Regents diplomas with advanced designation is 72.2. Regents diplomas with advanced designation with honors is 21.7. And the Regents exam with a career and technical CTE endorsement, that's accurate at 12%. So these numbers also are going to have to be, I'll give you the corrected on these. Again, I apologize for the discrepancy here on this version here. You guys have the correct version. 99.5% of the class of 2023 received a Regents or a Regents diploma with advanced designation. That 72% on the advanced designation is just a percent below our pre-pandemic high, so we have pretty much recovered all of that. 22% of them reaching with honors. This number is the one that's off by the most, so 97% of our special education students last year graduated with a Regents diploma or a Regents with advanced designation, which is a phenomenal statistic. And all of the non-continuing special education students graduated. So the only students that didn't in that 97% are students that are continuing with us for the extended school opportunity that they have. 24 students did graduate with the Regents diploma with the CTE endorsement. That is double any number we've had in the past. And for our seal of biliteracy, that number continues to grow. Ms. Waldauer has done tremendous work in bringing that program on board, getting students actively engaged with it, advertising it, and working with the world language teachers to really support that work. So we have steadily gone up since putting that in place 2 years ago. And again, 8 of our graduates this past year, in addition to everything else, achieved the seal of biliteracy. Any questions? Okay. So that now brings us to where do we go next? So while I am always proud to be able to put up those numbers. And while I recognize the importance of all of the work of our entire administrative team and truly the teachers and their work with our students in achieving those numbers that you just saw, there is always room to grow. So part of our annual curriculum development committee's work is to take a look at our district strategic plan and our 5-year goals, to sit and to look at what we have done and where we can do more, and to create a list of goals for the upcoming school year as a committee that we can then focus where we go next. So just a reminder, we are entering our last year of our current strategic plan with its 5 different areas of focus. In the most closely aligned with that is the whole child and enhanced graduation goals are the 2 of those 5 that most closely align with curriculum instruction and assessment. So you'll see that these really reflect those strategic plan goals in addition to the data that I just shared with you of our students' performance overall. So the goals are broken down into district-wide, elementary, middle school, and high school. So again, like I just mentioned, our curriculum development committee, which has approximately 30 members representing all of the constituent groups in the district, board members, parents, we have administrators, we have teachers, we have support staff. Everybody is on that committee, and this is the committee that reviews through this and moves these forward for adoption each year. So we want to take a look at the district level. We have outdoor learning pavilions that have been created as a result of some of the money we received through the pandemic relief funds, and we want to make sure that we are maximizing those new spaces. So providing professional development, integrated curriculum, connected lessons to the outdoor learning environments, and then providing resources to make sure that they are effectively being able to be utilized. Continued staff development and curriculum alignment. As I mentioned earlier, we now are transitioning to the next generation learning standards. I want to make sure that we are focusing on providing the support to our staff that allows them to do that as smoothly as possible. We have been in the district since 2017, 2018. We've been using the process of learning walks to be able to have teams of teachers and administrators visit classrooms to look at different facets of our practices, areas of focus around questions of inquiry of practice that we identify collectively. We are looking to continue that process. We're looking to expand that process this coming year, with one of our goals for this year to be actually trying to see if we can get to a point where we'll have not just teacher-inclusive learning walks, but also teacher-led and teacher-exclusive learning walks this year, where teachers themselves will come together, create an area of practice they want to look at, and work with the building administration to schedule them on their own. We are identifying, well, we've identified 8 different teaching and learning look-for areas that we are focusing on this school year, and so those will be focused on during faculty meetings, during professional development sessions, to provide some focus for areas about instructional practice that we've identified as things we want to further strengthen. We're going to use feedback that was gathered from a RISE program forum last year. We actually have done that already. That's the Teach Town curriculum that we have brought in and are implementing this year, so supporting that program and making sure that we can further strengthen the instructional quality of what we are able to bring to our RISE program students, K-12, and to empower our instructional staff to use assessments as a data analysis tool for supporting teaching and learning. We're going to expand our MTSS structure, which I talked about earlier in our data, to further strengthen what we are able to do in terms of identifying individualized student academic and social emotional learning and needs. We are going to focus, as we have been, on implementing strategies to increase student acceptance of one another and understanding of the impact of their actions on others. Developing a K-12 structure for strengthening delivery of instruction on financial literacy. We have a subcommittee that we formed at the end of last year as part of the curriculum development committee to focus specifically on how best to support the delivery of instruction on financial literacy, with the anticipated timeline being that this year will be the committee's work to make formal recommendations that can be implemented into our program for next year. Finalizing our research and technology skills continuum and integrating within that the new computer state science standards that are going to be taking effect for 24-25. So that is work that Dr. Policelli is leading the charge on, working alongside Ms. Wallbauer to bring that into a combination of our library program and our technology programs. And we are looking to continue to provide professional development on targeting the specialized behavior needs of students in all settings. At the elementary level, we look to advance the implementation of Branching Minds, which is a platform that allows us to build our MTSS structure. It is a platform that manages student performance data and behavioral data to allow us to have a comprehensive picture that includes reading, writing, and behavioral needs of students in making informed decisions about what each student's best path forward is in terms of instructional support or SEL support. Implementing and support through professional development resource acquisition for the newly adopted Eureka Math Squared program in K-5. Implementing and supporting PD and associated curriculum writing around our New York State social studies standards. This past year in grades 3 through 5, this past summer, a substantial amount of curriculum writing was done. Many of our teachers led the charge of a BOCES-sponsored program to develop grade 3 through 5 social studies curriculum aligned with the new state standards. Our district was actually selected because of the quality of their work, and that's not my words, that's BOCES' words. Our district was selected as a pilot school for that new curriculum, as many of our teachers are the ones that actually led that writing effort over the summer. We're going to provide ongoing professional development to acquire resources to support the K-5 library curriculum, including support for the grade 3 to 5 makerspace. You had the chance this evening to have a first-hand look at what that looks like in our K-2 building. And we are in the process, as part of the renovation of the Wading River Library, of updating the makerspace in that building so that we have a solid K-12 makerspace continuum. In concert with TC, we're going to look to continue providing professional development for enhancing grammar and vocabulary instruction, and we'll support professional development necessary for successful implementation of the new elementary science investigations. One of the things that's a part now of the new grade 5 and grade 8 state science assessments are required elementary science lab activities, investigations. These are based on an inquiry approach to science, which is what the new standards center around. So there are new tasks that students must complete prior to taking that exam in grade 5 and in grade 8. Dr. Policelli has been working on this for well over a year now in bringing in all of the pieces to that puzzle, providing the professional development support, workshops for our teachers on how to actually have students conduct those experiments, and we are absolutely on track for that this year. So at the middle school, we have support for implementation of our realigned middle school math scope and sequence, making sure that we have everything in place to optimize the rollout of that work. We're going to adapt offerings. So basically, as everybody knows, we moved to a 9-period day last year at the middle school. Within that new structure were some elective courses that we were able to add into the mix. With last year being the first year of that work, we certainly took some time at the end of last year to reflect on that implementation and have looked at ways to tweak some of what is being included in there to make sure that the resources and supplies and everything else that's needed to make those curricula really fun, and interesting, and engaging for our students are in place. And so we're going to make sure that that's going to take place this year. Supporting implementation of newly developed reading, writing, and grammar units of study. We spent the last 3 years, Ms. Wallbauer, working very closely with an outside consultant, had spent tremendous amounts of time and energy working with our middle school teachers, who deserve a tremendous amount of credit for the time and energy they placed in revamping the entire middle school ELA instructional program to incorporate units of study on reading, writing, and grammar each of the last 3 years. So that work has now finished, and this year is our first full year of implementation. So we are going to provide some additional professional development so that as the teachers are fully implementing this, if there's any questions or any needs, they have the opportunity to be able to continue to reflect and work with the professional development staff to make sure that those questions are able to be answered. We are implementing the revised courses in grade 6 and 7 science in line with the new state standards. Grade 6 is a life science program now. Grade 7 is a physical science program. That combination provides all of our students with the opportunity, should they be academically ready at the end of grade 7, all students would be prepared content-wise to move on to Regents Earth Science in 8th grade. And so this year will be the first time that our 7th grade science teachers will be the ones making the recommendations for students' readiness for accelerated science in 8th grade. Providing professional development to our ICT program, that's our inclusion co-teaching program on highly effective co-teaching strategies at the middle school level. This is an expansion of work that started last year at the high school. We have a professional development consultant working together with Ms. Von Eschen to provide professional development to our teachers on how best to utilize that co-teaching structure to meet the needs of all students. And that work is now being expanded for this year into the middle school. And finally, on this page, supporting professional development necessary for successful implementation of the new intermediate level, the 8th grade science investigations. At the high school, implementing a Seal of Civic Readiness program. So we just talked before about the fact that we had 8 students receive the Seal of Biliteracy. We are now ready to roll out the Seal of Civic Readiness this year. So again, Ms. Waldbauer has been working very closely with the teachers associated with civics, so that's our social studies program for the most part, in making sure that all of the pieces that the state requires for awarding a seal are in place, and that our students are provided the opportunities and that the structures are there for them to be able to achieve that, that seal. We're going to continue to provide professional development for our ICT program teachers, just like I spoke about at the middle school. We provided that initial support last year at the high school. We're going to continue to support that this year at the high school. We have the luxury of some very, very newly renovated spaces at the high school that we want to make sure we are utilizing to their fullest potential. One of them is our auxiliary gym. The other one is our art classrooms. So they were the very last spaces at the high school that were original to the building. They are now completely renovated. Okay, so there may be a couple still left in the corners. Yeah. So on that note, thank you. But they are the last major areas in the building that needed an upgrade, and they got it. And it was our goal this year to make sure that our teachers in the art program at the high school and our physical education teachers utilizing the aux gym have the tools and support and resources necessary to make those spaces optimal for our students and so that they can get the most out of those spaces. Implementing a school store as part of the High School Rise program. That school store is fully up and built. It is not fully functioning yet, but it is getting really, really, really close. And that is going to be an outstanding opportunity to expand our High School Rise student program and the ability for those students to really get into a real world work environment with and supporting their fellow high school students. Implementing and supporting updated high school offerings in broadcast journalism, community relations, and peer mentoring Spanish that are new to the program this year. Implementing updated technology units that integrate new equipment we were able to obtain, including drones, laser engravers, and 3D printers. The work that I just talked about before that had been taking place for the last 3 years of updating the middle school ELA program is now moving its way into the high school. Ms. Waldbauer spent time at our last board meeting explaining in greater detail what that work is looking like and how it's going to roll out. But that work is going to continue. It's our goal for this year to have our 9th and 10th grade English units well underway. Providing professional development and support and best practices for our high school math classes finishes up that page. We're going to continue to use a classroom visitation model. Last year we implemented this model. where administrators are doing quick 5-minute visitations into classrooms to just basically provide generalized feedback that is then shared with the entire faculty at faculty meetings to help share and give insights as to general practices that are taking place in our classrooms and to be able to spark conversation about how to further strengthen those practices. Developing and implementing additional strategies to support student transition services. We have put in place a transition coordinator this year, and that person will be responsible for working with Ms. Von Eschen to really make sure that we are providing those student transition services as ideally as possible for the students that are in need of that. Continuing to refine independent science research, maintaining interest in and expanding student success with competitions. Dr. Policelli has been working very closely with Ms. Schaefer on this effort for the last several years, and I am proud to say that we have, at this point, 2 students at the high school who are in the process of generating a Regeneron application for their projects that they have been working on for this year. So that is really just kudos for that work.
It's awesome.
It's a long time coming, and we really worked hard to get there. Provide ongoing professional development at the high school for an Understanding by Design, or UBD model. That is one that can help teachers in delivering unit and lesson designs aligned with a Understanding by Design, a backwards design instructional approach to delivery of content. Reviewing available spaces to support programs aligned with innovative and 21st century skills. Reviewing our high school library program to develop a multi-year plan to maximize that space and its impact on student success and college readiness. Providing ongoing support for an apiary at the high school, which we hope to have fully in swing by the end of this school year. Dr. Policelli working very closely with Mr. Nohill in our sustainability program, really leading the charge on this. A lot of good work done on that, and we're getting really, really close at this point in time. Develop curriculum resources to support the use of the possible greenhouse at the high school. Creating and implementing structures to support job shadowing. We have a structure in place. We're in the process of implementing that structure and working to support it. And while it is not on this list in here, one of the things that we actually have been moving forward on is also creating a CTE business pathway for implementation next year. Dr. Policelli has been working. It's a very complicated process that involves a lot of state level approvals, and we've cleared just about every hurdle now. So I am very optimistic that next year we will have that pathway approved. It's already done. Okay, that's the words you want to hear.
Yeah, they sent back, they said we're approved.
So we are approved.
Terrific.
I know it's a lot. Any questions?
No, well, thank you for the comprehensive, details around not only just our outcomes, but the, curriculum goals. Mr. Meinzer, I think not only just being a part of the curriculum committee, but being a part of this community in general, starting with our presentation tonight, it's just tremendous to see the growth that the district's got and the continued desire to do better. We should be pretty proud of our scores. I think that not closing during the pandemic led to starting at a different place and seeing where where our kids are. I think you just said it was 99.5 graduation rate.
Yep.
So it's all about 100%. Just tremendous. I appreciate the overview. I love the idea that we're now at the 5th year of our strategic goal. It'll be great to look back and provide to the community how we've done, and I'm sure the outcomes will be as tremendous as the other items that you have up here. So I know it takes a team and an effort, so thank you to yourselves and the administration. Thank you, Mr. Pacelli, and obviously Ms. Wolbauer. Thank you to our teachers, our staff. It takes an entire community, and even seeing the members of the PTA at Miller Avenue tonight speaking about our community, it takes our whole community to pull this off. So thanks for that, and see if anyone has any comments, questions on the board tonight. Students on the spot, you want to make any recommendations for curriculum? Now is your time.
Fire away.
All right, well, great. Thank you, Alan, so much, Mr. Meister.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, next up, we've got some votes and resolutions. I have first up is the approval of our September 26, 2023 regular public meeting. I'm going to have to abstain because I wasn't here, so may I get a motion? Megan, second Henry. All in favor? So it'll be 4-0 on approval and 1 abstain. Next up, approval of policies, first reading, and we're going to waive the second reading for our policy number 5300.60, student searches and interrogations. Mr. Poole, did you want to mention anything else?
Yeah, just to note, this is a policy that we recently revised and updated probably last winter. We have come back to it to add a couple of key pieces. One of those is adding the ability to search a car on our campus. So really the process for registering on campus is going to include a student and a family sign-off to allow administration upon request and need for a just cause to search a vehicle on the campus if necessary. If a student declines that search, they're in danger of revoking their parking privileges at the high school. One other addition to that policy would be a partnership with the local police department, Suffolk County Police Department, to allow, on occasion that is necessary, the use of trained dogs to detect narcotics in the building. I did mention in a change in that policy would allow that to happen for the school district. The policy includes the language where the dogs are not sniffing students or staff, they're searching lockers and objects. And hopefully, as I shared a letter not too long ago with families about about the dangers of vaping and things like that, that this will act as a safety mechanism for students and staff, and perhaps as a deterrent as well for the students. So those are the 2 changes to that policy in front of the board tonight.
Thank you for that update, Mr. Poole. Any questions? General discussion on it? Okay. May I get a motion to approve? Mike, second. Jim, all in favor? 5-0. Okay, next up are the Board of Education resolutions. Tonight, let's see, I have 2 of them, right? Is it okay if I take them as a block, 059 and 060? Good, great. May I get a motion? Megan, second. Jim, all in favor? 5-0. Next up are business and operation resolutions. I'm going to take them as a block as well, 061 and 062. Any questions? Okay. May I get a motion? Henry, second. Megan, all in favor? 5-0. Next up, personnel. May I get a motion to approve tonight's personnel? Jim, second. Mike, all in favor? 5-0. Want to again thank Mr. Passamonte. Any communications, Brian? No? Any discussion topics from the board? No? Okay. Any comments from residents? Okay.
Yeah, why can't you run physics every year?
Why can't I run physics every year? Please state your name for the...
My name is Justin Biesdorfer. I live in Shoreham.
Yeah, I can read it. So the question, Mr.
Mr. Martin,
yeah, thank you.
I hate to see those engineering kids like that.
So this was something that we spent a lot of time looking at several years ago. We looked at the enrollment for our AP Chemistry and our AP Physics classes, which perennially ran under 15 students every year. So looking at that data, the decision was made, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, because it's a lengthy process to make that transition. You want to make sure that there's no student that is prevented from being able to take both of those 2 classes if they should so choose. So we very intentionally made the change in the course book 3 years ago with a 2-year lead time, so that there wouldn't be any student that wasn't aware, and the guidance counselors at the time made sure they informed everybody. We don't have the population here to sustain having both of those courses run every year. And the numbers have borne that out. There is only 1 section worth of AP Physics this year, and that was with the 2-year. And last year when we did AP Chemistry for the first time as the only one, there wasn't, again, a full, it was 1 section at that point in time as well. So that is the reason why we did that. As we go forward and our enrollment continues to decline, which unfortunately that's the trend that we are in right now, we are going to continue to look actually for additional programming where our enrollment is perennially very low. Because in order to be able to, it allowed us to run both of those programs at all, within the size that we have and within the numbers, because, not to run classes of 6 kids. That's what we were looking for, so that's the reason.
Okay. Very good. Anything else? All good? May I get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? First, Henry, second, Mike, all in favor? 5-0. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, ladies.